we know that if you live with it, you will find it and you will love it.
The pressure to make Andy Richter Controls the Universe a popular success falls to the showrunner, Victor Fresco.
He's the boss of the show, really. He's in charge of the writers. Victor oversees the casting, he oversees the editing, the music, and all the creative decisions.
As the person with control over every element of production, Victor takes the ultimate responsibility for the quality of the show.
All the pressure's on Victor. He has a 22-hour-a-day job.
It's October 27th, 2002. Victor and his team are working on the last script of the season. The writing of the show is the most crucial part of Victor's job, and a strong writer's room is critical to the show's success.
I believe in a lot of rewriting. I think that 12 brains are better than one, generally, and scripts really come up in the room.
I bought tickets to see Gallagher 2. Not Gallagher 1.
That's actually Aaliyah's humor.
Yeah! Victor has, I think, a great skill in picking not only nice people, but really good people who can work well together. And we've got people who are strong in all sorts of different ways, and yet there's very little headbanging and competition. I mean, almost none. It's sort of like, oh, there's a big wacky kind of joke from over here, and a subtle character joke from over here, and a little story insight from over there.
Sort of like that team, you know, like when you assemble your team, there's like the weapons expert, and there's the demolition guy, and then the, you know, the master of disguise. We sort of have that.
It's exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
2 weeks of work have already gone into the script, and today the stars of the show will read it for the first time at the table read. It's a vital part of the production.
We have a table read and then that's it, so we get one shot at it, so we really try and fine-tune it. It's extremely important, I think, to hear it, because some stuff is going to work and some stuff doesn't, and if you're just going to shoot it, it's like shooting your first draft, which would be a scary experience.
Coming up, the writers, the network executives, and the stars of the show come together for the table.
Now, we're also writing a spec script, and what a spec script is like you either write a Friends or Everyone Loves Raymond's, you write your example of one of those scripts. So it goes out to showrunners and they get an idea if you can write. Dave and I knew we couldn't, so we wrote a spec script for the Olsen twins called Ashley Misses First Period. And it was a parody of a spec script.
We wrote this spec script, I think he told you about Ashley Misses First Period, and both ended up out in LA. So, I mean, it was just completely random. It was nothing I ever thought I wanted to do. I mean, Matt, ever since I've known him, had always wanted to do this, and I just kind of couldn't handle working at Prudential and ended up here.
Matt and Dave will soon see how their script fares at the table read. If it goes well, the network will request few changes. If it goes badly, the writing team will have a tough rewrite ahead of them.
The people who go to the table read are obviously the whole cast, all of the writers, all of the producers, the network executives, and studio executives.
The writers, it's the highlight of their week to hear their words read by the actors.
All right, our show is written by Dave Jesser and Matt Silver.
Boom!
Movie directed by AndyRichter.
Charity begins in D block. We started the Pickering hallway. We're tracking down that hallway. We come up on a room labeled the copy room, where we see flashes of light from the Xerox machine coming from under the door.
In today's cutthroat economy, you have to be willing to go the extra mile. That's why Byron and I are still here half an hour after quitting time, working like slaves.
Door opens, we enter. Andy and Byron are in the middle of a fashion show wearing outfits made from shredded paper.
Slaves to fashion.
The actors really sell it at the table. The goal is they don't want to get a lot of notes. So they know that if they're going to sell it and show us the transitions and the beats and how the character dynamic is working, chances are we're not going to have a lot of notes.
It's very important to hear the actors hear it and see what works for them, and if we've captured, we think we've captured their voice, and sometimes jokes we think play in the room don't play when the actors read it, and so those things have to get changed out.
Next day, Andy, Jessica walking.
Rob, Bob, Bert. That's where the Bob comes from.
That's interesting. But I was asking where the new programmer, Bob Sturgenaram, comes from.
Oh, I don't know. Somewhere where they hate us. I think it's Alabama.
You only have 5 days to make this thing really sing, and if the joke doesn't work at the table read, it's going to get cut and a new joke is going to be written. So if you like something, you better make it work.
The actors can completely affect the table read. There are casts that don't rehearse, they don't read the script, they don't work on their lines, and you can kill a script that way.
We were on one show where the actress didn't like her part, and she purposely tanked the table read. She just, like...
28, 2002. 1 hour after the table read for Andy Richter Controls the Universe, the show's writing staff reconvenes at Bungalow 20 to address notes from the network and punch up the script to their satisfaction.
So I'll give you their notes, and then we can talk about other stuff. Fox's only note really was to strengthen Jessica's culpability on her prisoner getting stabbed. Has to be a little clearer what she's doing. Like, well, I think we went too far before when we said, here, take this pencil and go do this thing.
Writers are there, and if something's not working, I'm not going to micromanage them to say, well, that joke didn't work. I know that they're going to find where the joke is or isn't working.
There might be one phrase that's called back to her, like you told your prisoner to
do whatever
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
When we're at that table read, you sort of go through the script, and generally, if a joke works, you give it a check. If you don't, you give it an X. If you're wondering if it works, you give it a question mark. And then, then you go back to the room after the table read, and then you're like, oh, I gave this one a check. You're like, oh, I didn't give it a check. And then you guys argue whether or not it's funny.
Yeah. And if that
After discussing the notes from the network, Victor and his writers go through the entire script line by line. They first turn their attention to the opening scene, which did not work at the table read.
Rob, Bob, Bert. That's where the Bob comes from.
That's interesting. But I was asking where the new programmer, Bob Sirgunaram, comes from.
Oh, I don't know. Somewhere where they hate us. I think it's Alabama.
You come around the corner?
Do you remember having a laugh on that one? It was Rob, Bob, that's where Bob comes from. And then Jessica says, no, I meant Bob so-and-so.
It might work because you're seeing it. I mean, when we heard it today, it didn't play.
It was hard to hear Bob.
Really not.
Well, maybe if Andy's like more didactic about it, you know?
I don't know. I think you just don't hear it as well.
We spend an insane amount of time on the Bob Obbert joke.
Rob Obbert. Without the beginning. I'm saying we pitch on it.
Rob Obbert.
Rob Obbert.
Rob Obbert.
Rob Obbert Bob.
That's how you get Bob from Robert.
I get this, but it does not tickle me.
Okay, your head's stupid.
The orange stuff? Even the...
Yeah,
Well,
none of it really excites me.
It's there.
I mean, all we really need is some sort of like little nonsense as we walk in.
Yeah.
Just a red herring.
Because Andy Richter is in the room a lot, and he's just incredibly funny and really helpful, and he's just amazing to have in the room.
See, I was thinking, what about if like it was describing a portion of some sort of notorious thing, like the Pamela and Tommy Lee tape, and we're walking in, and Jessica just says, and he's driving the boat with it, and then he honks the horn with it.
I have to go to the stage, but I think it should just be like a 2-line exchange and then bring them in. Just like a free beat, like part of the joke can come from or something like that.
Oh, it's better.
When we're in production, I go between the stage and the writers all day. And it's a very inefficient way to work, but I haven't figured out a better one. So I'm on the stage when they're shooting, and then I try, during breaks, go and work with the writers.
While Victor goes to the stage to supervise shooting on another episode, the team brainstorms jokes to pitch to Victor upon his return.
All right, everybody, let's try to get a freebie here. What can Andy and Jessica be talking about when they come in?
Sometimes at the top of a scene, just to sort of get into the scene, you might just need a freebie, like a freestanding joke that has maybe nothing really to do with the story, but just two characters having a funny little thing.
Now, I'm not pitching, but I'm curious why, when they neutered my dog, they left the sack.
You can have them put a zipper in, and then if you're jogging with the dog, you put your keys in.
A lot of the energy in the writer's room doesn't look like it's all that constructive.
I'm sure I could beat up Sandra Day O'Connor. I don't know about Scalia.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Scalia looks like he's...
That's actually true.
And Jessica's like, I could take them all out.
You can't imagine how this could possibly be helping in the rewrite of the show, but ultimately you roll with that because out of that comes a lot of good ideas.
I'm pretty sure I could take out Sandra Day O'Connor
I think Scalia might be able to kick my ass.
That's it.
the problem. That's good.
Yeah.
Can we go to the dog sack? Unbelievable.
Scalia or dog sack? There's the choice.
It's elitist comedy. It's only funny if you're like, oh, I got it. But then it's not truly funny. You put a dog sack up there with a zipper and keys in there, that's funny.
Well, let's put in the dog sack with the zipper. Everyone is.
I'm saying we got both jokes in. He's not going to like either of them.
All right, so what?
We're usually waiting for him to come back from the stage, and we work through, like you said, go line by line and joke by joke and try to make it funnier.
Oh, we have some choices for you. It has to do with him being from Europe. Look at all this.
All right, so I got the cat's hand in my mouth. And started eating.
Oh, that's not the expression for
Pork jerky.
And he has to sift through all these voices and everyone's clamoring to convey their humor and all the stuff that drives the craziness of a writer's room, and he has to like pick out what he wants to use.
Did Dracula have kids? That's kind of a funny jumping off point too.
Oh, yeah, son of Dracula.
Why not?
Dracula's daughter.
Well, yeah, there was like, can Dracula have kids? No. Well, there's son of Dracula and Dracula's daughter. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
You don't seem like you have kids.
All right, then let's go. Let's say, Jessica, anyone walk in silence for a beat. Walk in silence. You can say walk in silence, period, after a beat. I can have kids. And she says no, and then Andy speaks after no.
Victor has a really strong point of view, and what he wants is like really, it's clear to try and give him what he wants and try and, he focuses us really well.
Son of Dracula and Dracula's daughter. Okay, then yeah, okay, then yes. You never talk about things I do. You never care about the things I do. Well, Warwick, like, can the mummy swim?
Okay, fine, Andy, you're right. You'd make an excellent lawyer.
You'd make an excellent monster lawyer.
Okay, and action. Can Dracula have kids?
No.
Well, there's son of Dracula and Dracula's daughter.
Okay, then yes.
Can the mummy swim?
No.
He's in that swamp in that one movie.
Okay, you win. You'd make an excellent monster lawyer.
All right.
Well, I have a pitch instead of can the mummy swim, can mummy swim?
Can mummy swim?
It's got to be the mummy.
Yeah.
I've never felt stronger about anything in my entire life. Do you think Dracula can have kids?
No.
Well, what about son of Dracula, Dracula's daughter?
Okay, then yes.
Can the mummy swim?
No.
Well, he was in that swamp in that one movie.
Okay, you made your point. You'd make an excellent monster lawyer.
One time I had...
It is 4 p.m. The opening scene has been rewritten. 30 more scenes will be punched over the next several hours so that the episode can be prepared to go in front of the cameras in 5 days' time.
We're cutting these two lines, right?
When TV Out of the Box returns, production begins on Andy Richter's last episode of the 6 18-hour days of production on Charity Begins in D Block.
Good morning.
Cast and crew arrive at stage 15 on the Paramount lot. The makeup and hair department is ready for the actors.
Our calls can be between 4:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. If we're working with all 5 stars of the show, we'll have them ready before 7.
When we're in production, I usually get here about 7, and I'll go between the stage and the writers all day.
Good morning. Good morning.
So I'm on the stage when they're shooting, and then I try and during breaks go and work with the writers.
We have a great cast and crew, and when something works, it works. And this really does work.
Everybody just really loves being here and enjoys coming to work every day, and there's no crazy egos to deal with. It really just makes an enjoyable place to come to work every day.
Director Andy Ackerman arrives on the set at 7:20 a.m.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning.
Hey, Steve.
By 8 a.m., the crew is ready for the first of 30 setups that will be shot today.
This particular scene is everyone at the office is doing charity work except for Andy and myself. And so we join a creative writing program at the Cook County Prison that helps violent prisoners channel their rage into creative writing. So this scene is where we are meeting the prisoners that we're sponsoring.
All right, folks. All right. Let's see what you've been working on.
This is Skeeter, the convicted murderer they paired me up with. What he lacks in talent, he makes up for in passion.
Wow. You really like cocaine.
I guess. It's not like I'd kill for it or nothing. Okay, I've killed for it.
Cut.
Cut.
Andy's scene is completed in less than an hour. Next on the schedule is a scene in which Paget gives her prisoner a pep talk.
Everybody settle in.
When she goes there, let her exit first. Then I'll reset, come here, and then I'll let her enter. Okay, from the top.
All right, here we go.
We are going to get our asses handed to us tomorrow night if we don't get our act together. Andy's guy wrote this amazing poem. I don't even understand it. So you better reach deep down inside and find that writer's voice within. Or all of D-Block is going to think Craig 10794 is a man who can't express his feelings with words.
I can express my feelings. I have strong feelings.
Good! Good! Then let them out!
If love...
No singing. Use your pen. Use your pen to express your feelings. And if you win, I'll buy you that subscription to Fat Ass Beers.
Good. And cut. Good. That was great.
At 1 o'clock, 6 hours into the shoot day, the crew breaks for lunch. After the meal break, they will move next door to the main set for work on the B story featuring Byron and Wendy.
This is a great episode. My character finds out that nobody really takes him seriously. And those are hard moments for him because he's just that guy that sort of can stand there forever and not get noticed.
All right, ready, and action.
Morning, Wendy. Listen, I haven't forgotten that I owe you $500.
Byron, you don't have to pay me. No one was taking you seriously.
No one was taking me seriously.
No. You know. No.
No, I don't know.
Come on. You know? Come on. You know.
It's because I'm Byron, isn't it? No one ever takes me seriously around here. Now tell me the truth and don't use the words come on or you know.
Resetting.
Just hit her a little harder with your first line that don't worry that I'm going to pay you $500. I mean, own up to that more.
Okay.
Just make sure she's aware of that because that's what's paramount on your mind.
Okay.
That you're good for that money.
Okay.
All set. And background.
And action.
Good morning, Wendy. Listen, I haven't forgotten that I owe you $500.
Oh, Byron, you don't have to pay me. No one was taking you seriously.
No one was taking me seriously.
Cut. Yeah.
It's decided that a line in the script is not working the way it was intended, so Victor Fresco makes a rare, last-minute adjustment.
We realized from draft to draft something had gotten cut, which was that Byron intends to pay the debt.
He says, I'm going to pay you.
Right.
And she says, oh, you don't have to pay me. And then she introduces the reason why, you know. I mean, no one's taking you seriously.
And then he says, all right, I'm going to pay you like I just said, but now, because you're not taking me seriously, I'm going to pay you even more.
Right. You got to pick one way to do it, because the sentence that's here is not clear whether he's intending to or not intending.
Or it intensifies it. Maybe he was always planning to pay, but it's going to take a while. He's going to scrounge it up, and then as soon as he finds out his pride's been hurt, no one's taking you seriously. It's, oh my God, I'm going to get you that money.
That scene went on and was rewritten, but it was very important for him to pay it. And now it became, you don't take me seriously. It wasn't that clear that that's important to him, that he has to pay the debt. Watching it, I thought, ooh, we had cut that part out.
And then let's tag it in case we need it. And say, I'm going to pay that debt. I'm going to pay the crap out of it.
Rolling.
No one ever takes me seriously around here. Tell me the truth, and don't use the words come on or you know.
Hey.
Oh, I'm gonna pay that bet. I'm gonna pay the crap out of it.
And cut.
Cut.
Good.
Cut there.
It's because I'm Byron, isn't it? No one ever takes me seriously around here. Tell me the truth, and don't use the words come on or you know.
Hey.
Oh, I'm gonna pay that bet. I'm gonna pay the crap out of it.
The crew wraps at 6 o'clock. There are 26 more scenes to shoot over the next 5 days. Andy Richter's second season is nearly in the can. For Victor and the network, thoughts increasingly turn to the season premiere, which is now 3 weeks away.
We who work on the show have done our jobs well. We've produced a good show, a show that Fox likes. And then we send it out in the world, and then it's up to other people and departments that we have nothing to do with that decide when it's going on the air, how much money will be spent promoting it, things like that. That's totally out of our control.
Mid-season replacements normally premiere in January or March. Fox has made the decision to launch. 4 weeks after shooting on Charity Begins in D Block is complete, Victor Fresco is editing the episode.
So as we shoot, the editor is assembling. He's a day behind, and he's doing his rough assembly. The next step is it goes to the director, who does his or her cut. From there, the director's cut then goes to me.
Come on, Byron, we gotta go.
Yeah, give her like 5 frames just so she's staring at them for a bit. Then I do my cut, which is getting it down to time, and then I tinker a lot with editing.
You failed 20 stories, but I think we can see.
Let me just see what it looks like without the rig. Just have them stare for a beat, and then we'll go to that flash.
You failed 20 stories, but I think we can save him. Wait a minute. He's a donor. Finally, my cat can have eyes.
I feel 100% responsible for the quality of the show, but I don't really feel responsible for the success or failure of the show in terms of there are things outside of my control that are huge contributing factors to the success of the show that I have no responsibility for. And that's frustrating.
The first 2 episodes of the new season have aired and the reviews have been outstanding. However, the ratings have been less impressive.
It's doing okay. It's aired twice. You know, it drops about 25% from its lead-in. Our first 2 episodes were on opposite the last 2 episodes of The Sopranos. You know, not a great place to launch a show.
I think the fate of the show is still tremendously up in the air based on how that time slot works out for us, what kind of promotion we get, and just whether the show catches fire at this point or not.
We definitely take into consideration that Sunday nights at 9:30 is a hard slot. It's a hard time slot. So I don't think the expectation is enormous. If it can hold on to, a good percentage of Malcolm's audience, that's going to be fine. I think that's going to be fine.
Fox has been doing their on-air promos and some stuff, but I don't think they want to pour a whole lot of money into this because it is a weird show and it hasn't really found its comedic ground yet, and the ratings aren't there. So I think, they're not going to get that kind of support yet.
For Victor Fresco and Andy Richter, the creative work is over, and they turn their attention increasingly towards the promotion of the show.
What they're going to be doing is test marketing some ads in 5 markets, radio spots. And they're doing it soon. They're doing it to promote this Sunday show. Richter can go on the morning shows in, drive time in those 5 markets. And also we can get a bump. I mean, my sense is that this would be very important next Monday to see if they successfully got a bump in those markets. Then the next push would be January.
We'll know by the end of January if we're doing well enough